name is Georgia, this is Jason and Priscilla, and together we are Ecocentive. But before I get into what Ecocentive is about, I have a little confession. I shop way too much online, and that produces so much waste. I try to do something about it, I recycle, but am I actually making an impact? 85% of Singaporeans believe that we need to do something about climate change, but more than half of us don't actually know what to do. In fact, an average Singaporean emits 8 tons of carbon emission every year. Now imagine that number if we continue down this path. They say the best way to be carbon neutral is not to have been born at all. But since we're already here, why not do something about it? That's why we built Ecocentive, the platform to validate, measure, and incentivize your eco-actions.
So for every person who has wondered what they should do to help the environment, Ecocentive will make it easy and simple for you. Upon logging in, users will be able to choose a list of curated eco-actions that help the environment. For example, recycling or eating a vegetarian meal. Next, the user will then be able to verify these actions by either uploading a relevant document or taking a unique verifying picture. And this system is actually secured by blockchain principles for better validity. Most importantly, users will then be able to see the exact carbon impact of the actions that they created. And you'll be able to see how these numbers are derived to make sure that their time and effort was not wasted. After that, to provide just that extra bit of incentive, these eco-actions will then be purchased or sponsored by corporations who are looking to contribute to society. This will actually help them contribute their ESG dollars meaningfully and have better visibility over their ESG efforts. So, of course, the ecosystem is very robust today when it comes to sustainability, and we hope to be a complementary and not competitive solution. We hope to support them by being a comprehensive resource to strengthen their impact validation and further incentivize sustainable habits. So, however, current solutions today often fail in terms of the robust verification and impact measurement of taking a bus, for example, and they often fail to build on actually encouraging sustainable habits in your practical day-to-day lives. And that's where Ecocentive can step in. So our target market is twofold. First is, of course, our main user base, eco-minded individuals who wish to do more. And next, corporations who wish to contribute their ESG dollars meaningfully. We'll go to market by building community across social media, as well as reaching out to local businesses, larger MNCs, and of course, governmental partners who are focused on sustainability. So, Ecocentive has been around since the start of the YC program, but we've already received a positive response to our proposed solution from potential partners across different sectors. We've also identified early adopters across a consumer survey run over 5 days, where they responded that knowing their impact was the most important way for them to build sustainable habits. 25% of our respondents have also reflected that they were willing to be contacted for future product updates from us. So, our business model is based upon a 10% margin of corporate sponsorship of those eco-actions, and we'll be looking to build a user subscription freemium model in the future. This will be a lightweight, low startup cost that will ensure future business sustainability. So, let's take a look at the ESG spending market today. So globally, we have $30 billion, but just last year in 2021, the Singaporean government actually announced a 180 million business grant for local businesses to supplement their ESG initiatives. So just tapping into 2% of that grant alone will result in a 3.6 million market value that we can tap on. And that's not even talking about the corporate sponsorship model that we've mentioned before. So just to get to know our team a little, this is our CEO, Georgia. She's a full-time entrepreneur who has been working in content marketing with Shopback and Wargaming. This is Priscilla, our Chief Product Officer. She's a partner operations manager at Meta, and she was previously an AI solutions engineer. And lastly, hi, I'm Jason, the Chief Operations Officer. I'm currently a client partner at Unity Technologies, and I've previously worked on social impact projects with Halogen Foundation and Singapore Association for the Deaf. So our future roadmap, in the year 2022, we'll be looking to grow our user base and partnership, as well as add on to our team. At the end of the year, we're looking to launch our beta. Next year, our full launch. And by the end of next year, we're hoping to launch to scale to a different market. So for funding us, it will be mainly split between manpower and marketing spend, as well as professional consultants for both environmental science and full stack developers. So these are our impact metrics. By June 2023, we hope to have significant and measurable progress towards these different eco-actions to tackle the SDGs of sustainable cities and communities, and of course, climate action. So here at Ecocentive, we're not here to ask you to cut down on your shopping or your bubble teas. We are here to help you be more sustainable, to build and track eco-impact in your everyday lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Ecocentive. May we please now invite questions or comments from the judges?
So I have a confession to me. I'm probably like Georgia. I definitely overshop online. Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about your user journey, right? So what kind of user persona this is? Who are you trying to target? And tell me a little bit more about how, as a user, we will be able to put this information out onto your app. Because I saw a little bit about screening your receipts, etc. So that's my first question. And why don't you kind of answer that first, and I'll go on to my second one.
Sure. So first of all, the users will be able to see the impact of the actions depending on the action that they chose in the first place. So for example, if you're eating a vegetarian meal, the impact is actually measured through a research-backed algorithm where we look through scores of environmental papers on exactly how much impact each vegetarian meal would actually have on the world around you. And this actually differs based on the action as well. So for example, electricity, the carbon emission of electricity differs across countries and differs across regions. So for Singapore, we've actually taken a look at the statistics available, such as our grid emission factor. So by working off of that, we can actually calculate that the number of time you spend switching on a light will result in how much kilowatts per hour. And from there, we can actually calculate the number of carbon dioxide that you produce, and therefore your carbon impact. So there are many ways of actually verifying and calculating the impact, and this depends on the type of action that you've chosen. And we have made sure that the eco actions that we've listed have been curated to be impactful, rather than wasting your time and effort on things that don't make a significant difference.
Thank you for that. So what I'm understanding here is that then you are relying on the user to kind of actually upload the data points and then key in the data points, and then you kind of pull those information into an algorithm that would then validate how much is the carbon emission savings, is it?
Yes.
Okay, understand. Thank you very much for that.
Hello, is this working? Is this working? Okay, hi, sorry. Just to add to that, I think the user journey of that is a little bit more simple in that there is a curated list of actions that you can choose from. As a user, you click into that action. Some of it requires you to be on the spot, verifying. There's a liveness test of taking a picture that has some other signifying aspects that ensures that this person is there in real life with the correct geo space, and also, example, they cannot crawl images from the internet and therefore game the system. So this is a little bit more simple because they don't actually have to key in information. We don't really like that because self-reporting is kind of tricky. So we will be using document parsing, which is an AI technique in computer vision. Also to introduce myself, I'm the product person, and I'm also an AI engineer, so this is kind of like my area of expertise.
Yes, very nicely done. Your expertise clearly shines through.
Thank you.
About 1 to 2 last questions.
Okay. So I'm still not very clear exactly. Let's say I'm your customer. I use this, right? So I say I want to save electricity. So what do I do? So I say, I switch off the light earlier or whatever. Okay, so it's an action that I must follow, right, or subscribe to. Okay, so that's one. Explain a bit more of that. And then your corporate partners, by sort of sponsoring or adopting this, what do they gain out of it? Is it for commercial gain or just brand association? Thank you.
Okay, so the first question on electricity, it is not a particular action. Rather, the one that we're looking at is actually the household electricity consumption. So by doing that, you can upload your PUB bills, and it is verified because it is tied to every single household. We also, during document parsing, we make sure that there's no duplicate in terms of attribution. So that is the action that we're talking about. In terms of how to achieve lower energy usage, there will be recommendations on how to achieve that. On the corporate side, corporates will be incentivized to join our program because we are the fastest. We are, in terms of like ESG spending, a lot of the times the projects are very long term. So the participation and funding would tend to be in terms of estimated and projected impact, whereas ours is not. Ours is fast impact because all the actions that are stated are already performed, and this will be sponsored. Second, we are community-driven impact. So this is very important because I find that it is very important to link up the community and also corporate action together, and this makes for a really nice incentive-driven impact.
Thank you. I'm afraid that's all the time we have for Q&A. May we please invite the Ecocentive team down the stage. Thank you. Yeah.